Good morning, my friends, wherever you happen to be. And if you're in Europe or India, Asia, wherever you're at, a big hug, hello. And thank you so much for joining me on Tuesdays with Sammy this morning. I've got a really exciting haircut that I want to share with you. And we're coming off a big weekend. And for all of you out there that joined us this last weekend for 2 days, thank you so much for that. At Sam Via, we really believe in education. And we believe that education is so valuable right now. We want to give you as much as we possibly can while you're in the comfort of your home so that when you go back to your salons, you're even stronger. One of the announcements I want to make is a lot of people have been asking about the sale that we had yesterday in terms of we were selling our tools yesterday and people were just amazed at the discount. So I just want to let you, those that know that did not join us this last weekend, the tools are 40% off. All you want to do is go to samvia.com. They're 40% off. Then at Sam Via, we want to help all the hairdressers out there in need. 10% of our total sales are going to benefit the PBA COVID-19 Relief Fund. So once again, we continue to support the industry. And my thoughts and prayers are out there because I've received a lot of calls from salon owners saying, Sam, I may have to close. And we would love to help as much as possible. We may be a small company, but we are a big voice in the industry. So what do you say we do some hair? What are you going to do today, Sam? Well, I thought I'd revisit something because I think in the past is where we learn and the future is where we apply it. So what do you say I take you to Bobology? Now, Bobology, I'm going to show you another version of this. This was our #1 selling DVD, guys. Sorry for the lighting there. I'll tilt it so you can kind of get an idea. So this is Bobology. And we now have all of our DVDs are uploaded. Andrew, correct me if I'm wrong, but they're uploaded on YouTube. So you can see all of these for free. You don't have to purchase a DVD or anything like that. These are out there. But I'm going to take you a different approach on Bobology in terms of being able to create a graduated bob, but taking another route. And as I say, it's just the idea of, once again, doing things in a different way to keep yourself motivated. I know I have one of the schools out there, Kokomo, Washington. I'm so glad you guys are on. Give everybody out there a big hug for me. A lot of our schools that carry our school kits, you've been joining us throughout the weekend, and we're happy to have you on Tuesdays. For those schools that are interested in our school kits, make sure you reach out to us, let us know, and we'll send you some information and get a hold of you. So, yes, thank you for that. Visit the Sam Via Hair on YouTube. If you're don't subscribe to our YouTube channel, please do. And check out the Aspire Tour, which is what this DVD was. It was the Aspire Tour. And you can see this total DVD for free. Is it what you're going to be cutting, Sam? This is another version of that. So let's get started on that. All right. Hey, Kokomo, I love you guys too, man. You guys, you thank you for what you teachers are doing. And students, make sure you listen to those teachers because they are just going to make you the rainbows of the future. Don't do what I did when I was in school. I didn't listen. And then when I came back and they said, Sam, will you do a finger wave for us? I'm like, a what? So make sure you learn everything. Why, Sam? Because the past is where we learn and the future is where you apply it. All right, I pre-sectioned. Let's take a look at the section up here behind me on the board. And let's talk about this. All right, so what I did was I took a horseshoe section. So basically where that comb comes off of that head, that's where I'm going to section that horseshoe so you can see it there. So this horseshoe was sectioned at that mark, okay? Once I have that, then what I did was I sectioned my nape area. And now if you notice, normally what we do is we'll place the comb at the point of that hairline, and where it comes off, that's normal where my nape area would be. But this season, I'm gonna break that rule, and I'm gonna not make my nape area so tall, I'm just gonna make it down a little shorter, and you'll see why when I start the haircut. Then I want you to look at our foundational breakdown in terms of where we break this down. Look at where our side area is. We believe that if we take the side area right over the ear, what's going to happen is, in most cases, that's how we get the little hole in here. So we want to protect ourselves, move that side area back a little bit so that we fill in an area where there happens to be a hole. So that's the idea behind our foundational breakdown in terms of how we break the hair down. Thank you, Joy, for joining me from Huntsville. Nuno, my good friend from Portugal. Nuno, Piera, make sure you look at him here. I would suggest you follow him. That guy has been doing so many lives. He speaks Portuguese, doesn't speak English, but you can follow his hands, and just by following someone's hands, you're able to learn. Nuno, my friend, I love you, and thank you so much. There is Nuno right there. Thank you so much, Nuno, for being on. So make sure you follow him on social. All right, let's get to work. All right, so what's the first thing we're going to do? First thing we're going to do is we're going to go through, and we're going to take the section. Look how narrow, short that is. It's not so tall like you might normally see the nape area up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a vertical section, okay, and I'm going to sit down just so you can see it, and it gets a little bit better in terms of that, so you can see that. Okay, all right, so watch me take a vertical section. I'm going to slice that down the center. Okay, I'm right-handed, so I'm going to start on the right side. I'm going to square this to you so you can see that a little bit better. All right, now watch what I'm going to do. Watch this comb. The comb is going, I'm using a white comb on dark hair so I can see the transition. I got the transition of the dark color of hair and my comb. I can see the extension of that line. That's why we make white and black combs. So when I do this, I want to elevate this. When I was taught to cut my bobs, cut the length first and then graduate. What I want to do is I want to think inside out, meaning I'm going to layer, then come back and take off my length. So watch what we get. We're going to come through. I'm working with the fine teeth of the comb. So notice how the comb will go underneath. So I'm combing underneath because I'm going to elevate this vertically. Watch what I mean by that. Watch how I'm elevating that vertically 90 degrees. Look, see how that's going up? Look at my hand right up against the head. So that's really important. So now I'm over directing from that side of the hairline, and that's all I'm over directing from. Here it's natural fall, natural fall, natural fall, but I'm not turning my hand here. Keep it square to the wall, square to the wall. Cut square to the wall. So let's elevate. Okay. Now watch me work with the fine teeth of the comb. A little more tension. Elevate. And look how I'm using my comb to see that I'm square to the wall. From this point, I want you to come in and cut your horizontal line. And I'm working with our 7-inch dry cutting shear. And yes, I will use that on wet hair also. A lot of times people ask, Sam, why do you have a dry cutting shear when you use it on wet? And why do you have a wet shear, and sometimes you'll use that on dry? Well, here's why we did that. I don't know about you, but back in the days when I was doing a lot of dry cutting, I would cut with the same shear, wet and dry. When the hair is wet like this, the shear has to, it works through it, it's supple, boom, it goes. But when it's dry, it's working harder to cut through that. So we made a shear that has a little bit more weight to it so that you're able to get through it when you're working dry. Second reason is because, I don't know about you, but when I use the same shear on dry and wet, it would get dull a lot quicker. So there's a big difference between the two. Now let's turn this profile, and I want you to look at the silhouette that I just created by doing that. You can start to see already that silhouette doing this. So now all I need to do is knock off this length. So to knock off the length, rather than using a blunt tool, our blunt scissor, I'm going to work with a blending tool. I'm going to work with this. And the reason I'm working with this is because what this is going to do is it's going to go through and give me a very soft edge. So all I'm looking for is a very soft edge like this. I'm not looking for it to be blunt and even. Okay, so by using a texture shear, it's just going to give me a soft edge. What we've discovered by doing this, it grows out a lot easier, meaning that it's easier for a client to get the length off, or excuse me, to get the hair to bevel under. Now look at that. Look, if I take that away, you can just see the graduation I got out of that. In the old days, I was taught to go vertical, diagonal, 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 diagonal. But when you work diagonal, it's very difficult to create that same balance from side to side. Diagonal lines, take a look at it against my shirt. Diagonal lines lead from one corner to the opposite corner. Maintaining this consistency from one side of the head to the opposite side is very tough in terms of that. So vertical lines are very symmetrical, okay? Horizontal lines are very symmetrical. But anytime we go diagonal, we start to feel like, how do I get that balance on both sides? Notice I elevated vertically and I cut horizontally. Those are those two lines that I can control a lot easier. So now all I'm doing is knocking off the length. So white teeth of the comb go in. Look how I've got that flush. I am not turning the comb like this to do that. So I'm going through. Now watch the sheet, how that stays flat. Now watch me slide. The blunt blade is going to go underneath. I slide in. Now watch my hand just work left, right, left, right, left, right, so that I release all of that hair. And look how I'm getting the graduation in that. I just discovered, guys, that, I mean, you know, simplicity is today's brilliance. So looking for things, finding different ways to do things, but in a very effective way, not a gimmick way, but that simplifies your work. Especially when you go back to the salon. I think it's going to be very important that you discover ways that are going to get you where you get with quality, don't sacrifice quality, but you get you there quicker. So you can see 1, 2, and then length, and I'm done with that area. And already getting a graduated bob effect. Okay, so I hope you enjoy something like that. So Sam, if I'm cutting a normal graduated bob, would I take this section higher where I normally would? Yes. Just go through higher, take it up, and do the same thing, knock your length off, and you've got this area. Now get back into this area and go slice by slice by slice. Now get back into your diagonal if you want, from one side to the other. If you're learning something here, you've learned something there, just throw me a heart. Barb, how are you, Barb? I miss you, my dear. I'm looking so forward to joining the Redken Canada group. I believe it's April the 24th, Barb. I can't wait, Barb, to share with you guys. So make sure you spread the word. Sammy's going to be live from home, but for Canada, Redken Canada. All right, so that's what I'm working with. So now let's go into my second step here. So this was step 1, my sectioning and this nape area. So look how I elevated that. Remember, keep that square, then come back with a blending shear and release that length. Okay, so now let's go back into now, and let's find out what's our next step that we're going to do.
Hey, Sammy.
Yes, Andrew.
We actually put that back up just for one moment. Guys, I know some of you are asking about the head sheets. So let's give them a chance to just grab your phone, take a screenshot or something of the head sheet there.
Can you want me to bring it a little closer, Andrew, or can they get it?
I think they can get it from there.
Okay. All right, I'll wait a moment. Hi, Tina. Hi, Joanna. Hi, Mimi. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Rayanne. Barb, I said hi to you already. Okay, let's see. You think they got it now?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you, Andrew. Carolyn, yes. You know what? You know what? As hairdressers, Carolyn's saying, I've been doing hair a long time, and this is a new one. I like it. Carolyn, try it. You're going to love it, not just like it. But see, this is what I'm talking about, is we have to be open to change and to discoveries. And this is an opportunity for you to discover and reset your skill set and go back with a new sense of enthusiasm in terms of doing things a new way. If I keep doing things the same way, me personally, I just tend to get a little bit bored, a little bit mechanical. All right, Andrew, I'm going to go to step 2 now. Let's take it. This is going to be where it's really interesting. I want you to pay close attention here on step 2, okay? Because this is where it's really exciting. And, oh, okay, I'll set that there. This is really exciting in terms of where it happens about in regards to the layering. And what I want to show you is a good way to get a frothy type of volume out of this in terms of response. So let's take a look at step 2. Now, some of you out there have joined me in my hands-on classes and maybe gone through this. And it's a review for you, but I don't know about you, but if I see something a second time, I can really start to see details that I might have missed when I learned something the first time. So let's go through. Here's where I'm going to work. Down here, I've already cut this. So I want you to be aware of, this is what I just cut. That was step 1, okay? So all of this has been cut. So now what we want to do is once we cut that, now I'm going to take what I have here as my back area. Let's go here to Lydia. Okay, you can start to see, look at how tall my back area is. Remember, that nape area was taken lower. Look how tall that is. So what I want you to do is divide this in thirds. So we're going to go for 3 tiers, basically. Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3. Now let me execute this for you. So let's go to the first third. So if I just go 2 fingers, that's good. 2 fingers, perfect. So I'll have 3. So I'm going to use 2 fingers as my measuring tool. And I'll take that section horizontal across, 2 fingers. So this will be my first tool. Now, I have to tell you, my friends, this was not the way that I was taught to cut hair. But as I said, I've discovered things and I want to change and still hold on to what I know, which is my precision cutting, which I really believe is really important. Establish your foundation, establish your principles before you really start breaking the rules. Understand them and then break the rules. So now we are going to detach this from that. What do you mean, Sam? All right, I'm going to disconnect it, but I want it to look like it's blend. So let's put that away and let's put this one away. All right, so look how I've done that. So that now when I cut this, if I need to recut, I can cut again. Now watch what I'm going to do. Let's go to the board first and see if you can see this, all right? So let's go right here, okay? So I'm going to take a small little piece of hair, small piece of hair at the corner of this tier 1, okay? I'm going to bring it down to where my link's at. I'm going to tip that. That's going to become my guide. I'm going to elevate just like I did in step 1. Elevate that. I'm going to keep the comb horizontal again. So I'm repeating exactly what I did on step 1, but I'm going to take a guide. Let's execute it, all right? Watch. Give you a 3/4 view. That stays there. This stays here. I block that off so it stays out of my way, and I don't want to pick that accidentally up and cut it some more. So I'm going to look at the piece. See how I just let that and relax. You're creating a texture, cut that's textured. So yes, I'm bringing it over my clip, holding it with very little tension. Then I'm coming right back in, and I'm cutting my guide. Okay, so watch me just tip that right to the length. There's my guide. So this is my guide for this top section as I elevate. So let me give you a profile view of that. This is the guide. Brought that right down. So I'm going to elevate, and then I'm going to go square again. So let's keep it here. Now watch. So I go down. Okay, I elevate this up. Fine teeth the comb. So watch how control. I grab, comb up, grab. I'm ready to cut. So I comb, fine teeth of the comb, up. I place my hand. Now watch me looking for that guide. See, you can see that little guide right there. My ring finger is moving to that. That's the guide. So I elevate, not out to me. So important. You elevate up, fold, look for the guide. When you get to the guide, stay here, square. Once again, I'm square. Now I cut another horizontal line right across. Now watch. When I release this, look how I've detached that. But I'm starting to get that same graduation that I had underneath. Now, once you have that, you could certainly come over here, take another section on this side. Let's give you a 3/4 turn, okay? Take another section on this side, and you could certainly go in and create a guide right here. See, there's a guide. So let's create a guide on this side. Low tension, done a lot, relax, okay? There's a lot of, let me just say it this way, my friends. There's a lot of margin for error. All right. Any questions? Are you learning something so far? Just give me let me know that you are. All right, here we go. So now we go through, we elevate. So now I've got my guide here, and I've got my guide in the center. Now all I'm going to do is connect the dots. So I come through, elevate up. So I elevate up. I'm folding. You can see there's my 2 guides underneath. Now I stay square, make sure I'm square, and I cut my other horizontal line. Now, once you've done this, remember, you're elevating up. Don't cut the length first and then elevate. Elevate up. Now, if there's anything that collapses over this in terms of length, let's just comb down, wide teeth of the comb down. If anything overlaps, I take it off. Sam, I notice you're using your blunt shear to take that off. That's because this hair sits over what I just created. So now let's take a look at the shape. Look at that silhouette already. Go this way for you. Look at the silhouette already. Start to see the graduation I'm getting in a very, very simple way. All right, here we go now. So let's go to our second one. Okay, so that was tier 1. Let's place that down. So Sam, each section you cut, you isolate that. Yes, the reason being, because if you pick that up, you're going to accidentally cut into that. Okay, our second tier. Now I'm on the blue one that you see there. Take our section using our comb that has a sectioning tooth for you, so you can take a section. And now this is the top third. Let's get that out of the way. Okay. Now I'm here on the center back area. Okay, so we're going to go through, and now watch what I'm going to do. Take a section, always taking just a small slice, little small slice. Just bring it lightly over the clip. Don't worry about the clip being there. And now once you're here, now we're going to come through and watch how I'm going to take. This is my guide. Notice it's getting longer. Look how long that's getting as I work. Okay, getting much longer. Now that comes in. That's my guide. Fine teeth of the comb. Elevate up. Now I come through. Look how I'm staying square. Square to the head, back of the head. Look how I fold so I can see that guide. Okay, there's the guide. You can just start to, I want you to see it, guys. Okay, let's see. Boom. Do you see how it just kind of pokes out right there? That's my guide. So I elevate straight up. So my elevation is 90. The finger position where I'm at is horizontal, and the cutting angle is horizontal. Now I let that fall over that. Whatever goes over is what I'm going to come back and take off. Now notice I'm not taking the guide on that side. Go ahead, Andrew.
Neil's asking, can't you just follow the guide all around the head versus creating another guide on the opposite side?
If you can, look, that's exactly what I'm doing right now. Thank you for asking that, Neil. So watch what I did. I created a guide. Now I'm not going to create a guide this side. I'm just going to trust my talent, my skills, and just cut horizontal across. What I want you to understand, Neil, is you need to create a new guide for each tier. That sets you up. So I hope that answers that for you. Okay. All right. Let's go to the third one. Here's my third one. But before I go on, this is where I like to pause. So I love to pause here. What do you mean, Sam? I'm just going to come through and I'm just going to blow dry. So here's what I recommend, guys. Let's create an experience in the salons when you get back. What I want you to do is I want you to blow dry as you go. That's why I go through, cut this, and keep wetting it. When you're going to take a horseshoe section, you come back and start blow dry. Let's just blow dry here. And I'm going to prove a point of what I'm creating. So I'm going to put that on low. I'm not going to use a brush. I'm going to use my hands. I just want you to see the silhouette of what I'm creating and how I'm creating this. But you're going to start to see how frothy this is going to get. And it's amazing because I'm not elevating out horizontally. I'm just elevating vertically, cutting horizontally. I'm not elevating out diagonally. I think that's what makes this so great in terms of what we're doing. So start to watch the silhouette. You'll just start to see that. But what I love about this technique, Andrew, is the fact that what happens is by doing this technique, your bob is going to have more softness and it's going to have more movement to it. All right, so let's just go back. Take a look at this now. Watch. Okay, I'll get this up. That goes up there into my last tier. All right, look at what I'm doing. Look at this. And I don't know about you guys, but that is pretty cool in terms of how it's created. It's not created in the normal way that I do something. So it's just a really cool way to cut your bobs. Somebody said game changer. I love that. But I got to tell you, when I watch this. Check the movement that you get out of this. Look at the movement I'm getting out of this in terms of this. And that's what I love, guys. Now, when I go through blenders, you just got to understand, watch this. Blenders are going to pick this up and they're going to go, oh my gosh, what happened? This is detached for a reason. See, look there's that first one. Here's the second one. So they're detached for a reason, guys. If the moment I come in and I start to blend this, I've lost all the frothiness that this is going to have. So that's the effect that's what I'm talking about. What effect does this show when you blow dry as you go? So it shows, look at what it's showing me. It's showing me the silhouette, and I can start to see where do I have a little bit of excess weight. If I have a little bit of excess weight, go back and recut the same way you cut it by elevating up. So let's just go back and recheck. So that's what I love about Kaya. This is what I love about blow dry as you go. Look, I'm going to tweak this. Look, I started to change that. I slid past my guide a little bit. So that's telling me I got a little bit too much weight on the left side. Everything else that I cut, see, this doesn't reach to it. Look how short that is there. That was that first tier. Okay, watch me stay square. I got to stay square now. Okay, square, there, good. So I had a little bit excess length. This is, Kaya, this is why I like blow drying as I go, so that you can tweak the haircut as you go and you can see it. Then you can really see. When the hair is wet, I don't want you going back there and cut something you really don't feel you need to cut. Is there an ideal hair type that this works best on? Shanna, I think you just got to understand the fabrics you're working with. I've done this on fine hair. I've done it on thick hair. Curly hair is a little bit differently because you might see the lines of your detachments in natural curly hair. 1 being straight, 10 being peak curl. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I could probably go up to a 5 and do this, especially if they stretch dry their hair. But if the curlier it gets, I wouldn't recommend that. That's going to be another class in its own. All right, here we go to the third tier. Look at this, guys, and I'm blow drying as I go. Yes, it is. Georgine just said this is so much easier. Yes, it is. It really is, guys. But it looks like I'm cutting this precise. If you can see this really close, look at that. There's no lines in this. And that's what I love about that there's no lines in it in the way it is attached. So let's take a look at what we just did. Follow me to the board here. Here's the first one. By elevating this way, you're cutting short to long. So there's the first one. Now look at the second one. I elevated that up. I just put a tier short to long sitting on top of that. The moment I blend this, you lose it and it becomes stiff. Okay? So that's the discovery. Just as the seasons change, I need to change. Here we go. Last one. So Sam, could you point cut the tiers and get the same? Yes. If examine the fabric. If the fabric has a lot of density to it, I might scan. Okay, I might scan. I might cut deep point into it. Yet, what I love about this, the fact that you're detaching this, it gives you that texture already. So I suggest try it this way, and then ask yourself, I really need to go in and point cut it because I've got really cleanliness in terms of that, in terms of the way it's looking. So it doesn't have those steps to it. Let's see if I can tilt her in a number of different ways. And, oh, here she comes at you guys. All right, here we go. Third one. All right, so what I got to do, remember, each one, you have to clip this down. And what people go, that clip's in my way. Relax. In order to get a loose shape, I got to relax my mindset. I have to relax my mindset. Here we go. Next section.
Sammy,
yes,
would you say that it's really important to have a really precise subsection then, or are you mainly just doing that so you don't cut into your previous section?
I'm mainly doing this so I don't cut it into my previous section. Watch. If I didn't isolate that, then I might pick up some of this and start to think that's my guide. Then you get too short. So that's why I want you to subdivide each tier. Forget about that section. Once you cut the tier in, you got to release that. The elevation is the same. The over direction from the corner is the same, right? Square back. And the angle I'm cutting is the same. But they are each in their own section, if that makes sense. I hope that helps them out. Okay, here we go. Next one. All right, this is the third one now. So I'm up at the top now on the third one. So I'm going to take a little piece at that corner, and that has to be a small little piece, my friends. You're going to bring that all the way down, tip that length. That becomes my guide, and now I stay up and horizontal. So when we started, my hand was against the head. As I work up, depending upon the length, it gets longer. Okay, so watch. So here's my guide. Here's my section, that little tip. Bring it down just close to that length. Tip that. We come through. There's my length there. Come through, and now elevate this up. So I elevate up. Now watch this. You're going to see the guide this time. There's my guide. Okay, you can see it right here. So watch me slide up to that guide. What I don't do, guys, is I don't comb on top. When you comb on top, you're dropping your elevation. Then you got to come through. What I want you to do is immediately when you pick this section up, look how Sam holds the comb. So my elbow is dropped, so I'm not out here. I come through, hold my comb here. Now watch me slide. Now watch me glue my comb and my index finger together. Now all I do is slide. As I start to slide, I comb and I elevate up. Now you can just start to see that little piece that I have. I want you to see it. Look at it. See that? There it is there. Now I slide up, stay square, looking to see if I'm staying square, because as I comb, I square that comb back to me. Okay, so let's go profile so you can see that. Okay. Watch as I comb. Maybe the comb is to the shape of the head now. Hand, look how I squared. Now I fold and I elevate. And there's my length. Stop recombing. When you recomb and recomb and recomb, I've discovered that my line gets too stiff. Relax. This is what I mean about relaxing and trust the process and cut the darn thing. Yeah, I missed a little piece there and I go after that. Now watch this. Look at how that is now sitting over this shortness. See the difference? That sits over that. And the response in terms of volume is incredible. Watch when I'm done how she can just touch her head and boom, it's going to respond. Here we go. Up. Okay, fold. There's my guide and stay square. I look from the side view to see my elevation, to see where I'm at. I look from a side profile view. Let's release that.
Question, Sammy.
Please, Andrew. All right. Can you zigzag? Oh, Annette. You know, Sam, you know what I would do, Annette? If I really feel like, oh gosh, I'm scared, I'm going to zigzag these parts. Absolutely. When you zigzag, you're going to get much more of a deconstructed shape. So you could zigzag these. Once again, gives you a soft deconstructed edge. What I like about this is I don't need to do that so much, I've discovered, because this will give me automatically texture the way I'm elevated and the fact that I've created or detached each tier as I go. Now, Annette, what I would recommend is if you do this on a client that has a little bit of movement or some nice soft natural curl, then I would suggest zigzag that, especially if they blow dry, stretch dry their hair. They blow dry it straight. That way, it doesn't look like you can see the tears. And like I said, no matter what you do here, guys, you're not going to see the tears. So yes, you could go in and zigzag this. That's your call. Now watch this. When I pick all this up, watch it drop out. Okay, watch. There's my nape. Okay, there's tier 1. There's tier 2. Now I'm on tier 3. Did you see that, guys? So some people go, how easy is this to recut? All you got to do is comb up against gravity and the section drops out for you. How cool is that? It just doesn't get any cooler. Okay. Oh no, I missed a piece. Oh no, don't do that. Jesse, did you see what I did, buddy? I was about ready to pull that off. All right, let's go through and take off whatever I need to take off. All right, that's this second step. There's 3 tiers in that. I hope that you learned something from that in terms of, what it is that I'm trying to teach you here. And once again, pause here and blow dry so you can just start to see that silhouette. A different experience. Clients are going to say, gosh, I've never seen you cut like this, Sam. Are you done with a haircut? No. What I've discovered, if I blow dry as I go, I can tweak the haircut. I can check my volume. I can check it. When it's wet like this, you'll tickle it and you might see weight, but what could be causing the weight is the water. Okay? And just to prove the haircut, I'm just air drying. I'm just basically drying, not working with a brush. Imagine if I worked with a brush, and you can I want to just prove to you how you really don't even see that in terms of the tiers and how it looks like it's just a normal graduated bob in the way that you created it. Okay, if you're learning something, just give me a thumbs up, give me a yes. Let me know that you're on board with me and it's working for you.
You got a question there, Sammy?
Please. Okay, can you use thicker section for a longer version, less graduation? Now, Erica, if let's take a look. I wouldn't recommend necessarily thicker sections. You have to do, what's going to determine the section is going to be the density and the density. So let me say this. If I had thick hair, I'd probably put 5 tiers in it. So the section would be less. Why? So I get more texture into that. If I had fine hair, I might put maybe only 2 tiers. Do you see where I'm going here? So the more tiers you put into this, the more texture you're going to get. Now, let's talk about long hair. If her length is here, let's see if I can bring her up. You got to see this, okay? If the length that she has is here, that's her length, and she says to me she wants to keep her length, that nape area that I took, this length would be my guide. When I get to that, that's where I would hold and cut. So what I'm cutting inside here is short, but I maintained her length. That's important. So I don't want you to be a cookie cutter and just learn this cut and boom, elevate and go, oh, that darn Sam, he didn't tell me if I cut it here, it's going to get short. Hot tip. Whenever I elevate something, I say, if I cut you here, I'll take a piece. I go, where are you going to fall? So I always try to think about that before I cut a section. Remember, once you cut it, you cannot put it back on. That's really, really important to remember. All right? Okay, let's keep going now. I'm going to go now into the side area. I want to show you a cool little technique on the side area. All right? But look at this. Look at, and I'm not using a brush on this, guys. I'm not using a brush. I just been picking up my blow dryer and just blow drying that, and you can just start to see the silhouette. Let's take a look at the layering. Look at that. Okay? So you don't see any steps there, do you? And when people see this, they think, oh, I'm going to get a step, get a step, get a step. Remember, short to long, this is what you end up with. Short to long second, short to long third tier. That's what's great about that. All right, let's move to the side area.
Sam, right. We're getting quite a few questions on the elevation itself. Mm-hmm. So are you elevating just parallel to the floor, or are you elevating kind of like planes to the head style?
Okay, good job, Andrew. All right, that elevation, let's go with a black comb so you can really see it against the white backdrop. Okay, that elevation right there is horizontal. Say yes if you agree, everybody. Just type me yes. All right, now watch. This elevation is below a horizontal line. That's diagonal. That's going to build more weight. That's going to build some weight. The moment I start to elevate any hair at any position it lives, when this falls, it's going to fall softer. So now watch what I'm doing. I'm elevating this all the way vertically. So let me take my last one, what I just cut. Look at this degree of elevation. Can you see that? So I'm bringing everything. Look at the over direction, but now look at my elevation. My elevation goes straight up. So that's my elevation. It's 90 degrees. Let's talk about the angle I'm cutting. I'm cutting square. So if you can see this, okay, that's square. Okay, so if there's a wall in front of me, this comb is parallel to that wall. So that's the angle I'm cutting. The degree of elevation is not out horizontally. It's not dropped down diagonally. I'm asking you to challenge yourself. Take the comb underneath, elevate vertically. See, people get blown away because they go, oh my gosh, I created a graduated bob and I elevated it vertically. We were all taught to cut this like this. At least that's how I was. What I'm trying to give you is today's simplicity, which is cut it, elevate vertically, cut horizontally, but cut it in tiers, and that's what's giving me. Look at the silhouette. Look how much volume that's getting on its own. I hope that helps you out in terms of that question. Hey, Lori from Murfreesboro, Tennessee. I haven't been there in a while. I hope you guys are safe and taking care of yourselves. All right, so now let's go to the side area, Andrew. I hope that helped to answer that question. Okay, side area. What I want to do on the side area is I want this to drop like this. All right, so here's a good way that we've discovered in order to do that. So let's cut this length first. So watch what I'm going to do. Work with the wide teeth of the comb because I want less tension. Fine teeth of the comb are going to give me more tension. So I'm going to come through. Look at where the guide is. Now watch my hand. See how my hand matches that. Now watch what I'm going to do to control this. I've got where I want to be, but before I cut, I'm going to take the comb, slide it underneath so the teeth are pointed out. See, I've captured the hair and the teeth now. See that? So now once I'm here, then all I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this square to the back. So watch me turn. Watch the comb. So look how I just turned that square. Now I'm going to cut a square line to the back. So I'm going to show you the back. Okay, here. So watch. I'm going to change hands so you can see. Look how I've cut to that length. See that? Now watch. When I release this, watch how I've established my length that I want in the front. So that's what's so cool about doing that in terms of slide this back. In the old days, I'd do this. Diagonal forward, I'd overdirect this back. Diagonal forward, overdirect back, overdirect back. Now there's a much simple way to get the length into the front, into that top area. Just give me a thumbs up, give me a yes if you learned something there. Now what we want to do is we want to layer this top into this. Okay, so how are we going to do that? Exactly what we just did in the back, but we've got to turn and over direct because I want to maintain length in the front. So we come through here, we elevate up, I elevate, I have the shortness in the back. Okay, once I have that shortness in the back, we'll call use the comb. Look, I'm holding it. I'm at the shortness. Now watch what I'm going to do. All I'm going to do is just turn horizontally. Once I'm there, I'm going to trust this and I'm going to cut horizontal to that guide. So now watch. There we go. Thank you. Doing these things. He's our little computer worker genius guy, aside from being an awesome hairdresser. All right, so look. So watch what I'm getting. I'm getting this movement. So this graduation continues from that back to that, just simply doing what I did right there. So now let's go to the opposite side now. All right. Yeah, frothy. I love the word frothy. You know, I think what we need, you know, I would recommend, just suggest, let me say that. Suggest that you change the language when you get back to salon. By changing the language, they're going to go frothy. I'm going to make your top frothy. They go frothy. Yeah, like a cappuccino. You know, by changing the language, you're actually getting their attention. All right, here we go. Now watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to execute the same thing on this side. So let's give you a profile view of this. Okay. So here, look at, there's my guide from that back. See that? So I'm going to slide, I want to slide my hand down to that. Let me show you the action I'm doing, because you'll be able to see it now. Now all I do is turn my hand square. So I keep the elevation down. My hand is now square with that entire back, and now I cut a horizontal line to that. Okay, Sam, can I take it section by section? You can, but I want this to be soft. I know I'm going to layer this out, so why not just take it all at once? But to control it, take the fine teeth underneath. Now it's captured. There's my hand. Now watch me glue them together, and then watch me just rotate. So now all I do is just rotate to that back, and now look at that hand matching that back, and now cut your horizontal line. I know students out there, don't be cutting back into the palm of your hand here. Teachers are probably thinking, Kokomo, make sure they don't do that. They're going to cut themselves. Well, Sam, why do you do it? Experience, I guess. Over the years, you gain your experience and you gain your trust in yourself in terms of what you're capable of doing. Now I've gone through, let's take a look. You can just start to see from one side, that side, to this side. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and I'm going to just, once again, just softly dry it for you. I'm loving the concept of drying as I go. And the reason I'm liking that is it allows me, the hairdresser, to tweak and correct my balance, correct my weight, whichever you choose to do. You're going to see it better if it's dry. And then once again, let's change the experience. A lot of you sometimes are asking what product I'm working with. Obviously, I'm working with Redken's Pillow Proof. I love this because it's just an express primer, meaning that it speeds up the process of drying. There's alcohol conditioning benefits. 2 types of alcohol in here, so it's very important that you shake it up. Speeds the process of blow drying up, at the same time conditioning it. People go, alcohol, that's going to tend to make it a little bit more dry. Is it, Sam? No. You'd be surprised on how I've overused this, and I end up with so much oil to that. All right, so once again, I'm just casually blow drying this. You could use your paddle brush and blow dry this, but I'm just casually blow drying this. I hope everybody was able to join us this weekend. If you haven't known, but we made an announcement last night that on May 17th, we're going to be doing a social thon. Think of it like a telethon. And I want to raise money for COVID-19. Andrew just posted. So Sandy and friends, I've organized, reached out to all my icons, my mentors, my friends, and said, would you be willing to do this? And the response was overwhelming. Everybody's like, yes. So we'll be doing a social thon on Sunday. More details to come in terms of what time it starts. But you'll basically just get to see all these people doing some hair and some really motivational messages. But I really want you to put that date on your calendar. That's going to be all day. It will be a minimum donation in order for you to watch. And we're not asking for much. You'll see the details to come. So do me a favor. Take a picture of this, post it, and spread the word. We really want this to go viral. So help us to get that to go viral. All right. So now, take a look at what I've got. And then, I mean, it's just, I just love cutting like this because it's just giving me that idea. Now what I want to do is I want to make sure that I went through and elevated this side, because this is what I mean by drying it. You know, I'm not going to stand in front of you or sit here in front of you and say I'm perfect. But it looks like to me I didn't elevate that side. That's right. So I need to elevate it, Sam. All right, let's come through on this side. And you can see it as I was blow drying. This is what I mean by blow drying as you go. I could say, that's a lot of weight to it. And I go, you silly little guy, you didn't go in there and elevate. So stay focused, guys. Cut with intent and purpose. All right, here we go. Elevate up. You're going to get to see me do this dry. Now watch. Look how I rotate back. And there's the cutting point. There's the length. Now marry these 2 lines together. There we go. And cut horizontally. I'll lift my elbow so you can see. Now watch. Let's turn so that you can just start to see now. Watch how this drops. Look at that drop from short to long. You can just see that. And that's what I love about that. And look how this is just falling in, and I haven't even hit this really with a brush to go in and tweak that. But I'm just loving the way that this works, guys, this whole concept. So really, you know, the idea once again is just create an experience in the salons. You know, and by blow drying as you go, it creates an experience. Well, Sam, do you have any other ideas that you could share with me in terms of creating an experience in the salon? Yes, I do. I think what would be great, what's the number one, let's think about this for a moment. What's the number one complaint I would hear from clients? The number one complaint I always heard was, Sam, I can't get my hair to look like you get it to me. That was the number one complaint I always heard. I cannot get it to look like you get it to me. So here's what I recommend. Even though I've gone through and I've educated my clients on how to do it or what to do, it just amazes me that how they come back, and I spend a lot of time. But here's what I would recommend. When you go back to salons, I want you to take your phone, okay? And what I want you to do with your phone is I want you to place it on your, not your phone, but I want you to take a monkey tripod, and I just want you to place that on your station. So imagine a monkey tripod there with a card that says, for a free tutorial, place your phone here. And I guarantee you the client's going to say, so Sam, what do I need to do for a free tutorial? Oh, Louise, when it comes time for me to blow dry, what I want you to do is I want you to place your phone here so that I can go in and we're going to record me doing your blow dry tutorial. So can you imagine you're showing her the product you're working? Hi, Louise, it's me, good morning. And you're showing her the product, you're blending them together, you're showing her how to apply it. While you're at the salon, let her try it, coach her. Now you're showing her how to blow dry at the salon. It's being recorded on her phone. You show her, hand her the brush, let her try it, coach her. Can you imagine, my friends, when it comes time for her to exit, she's gone through, she leaves, and you're giving the phone to her, you're handing it back to her, and you're saying, Louise, you now have your own blow dry tutorial. You're the star, and I'll be there with you every morning. Simply place your phone on your vanity, turn on the video, and you'll remember how to go in and blow dry your hair. How's that sound? If you like that for a hot tip, just give me a yes. All right. So now take a look at what I've done. This is what I've done now. Now what I'm doing now, this is why I like to blow dry. I'm just checking the balance in my haircut. So I'm just checking, make sure. Most of the times you're doing this at the end of your haircut. Sam, what if you want longer sides? Anna, great question. Watch. So watch. Think about over direction, because that's just what I did exactly right here. I took this, made it swing, so I over directed. So if I want more length, swing back more. So let's take a look. Watch. The more I swing back this, watch. That's my hand. Now watch. The more I swing, watch the hair drop out. So when that hair drops out, that's telling me that's going to be longer. So look at my knuckle. I'm pointed to the corner of the head. If I swing this all the way back, so I'm pointing to the center, let's watch this. Look how much length I'm going to keep. So you swing back. Right now I'm taking you back square. If you want longer, swing back to the corner of the head. If you want it even longer, swing back to the center back of the head. So remember, whenever we want more length, if you want more length, then pull away from where you want that more length. I've got a little bit of excess length here. I'm just going to go back through and take off some of that, guys. Like I said, I'm not going to claim to be perfect. So Sam, what caused that excess length? Probably the way I swing. I went through and over-directed or swinging it back. I might have swung it past that line. So that's what could create that amount of length. So remember, you know, mistakes that happen, most of the mistakes that happen, they happen because of the comb. It's where you're combing the hair to. And you just need to be aware of that. Cool? All right, let's just see if there's any more questions, how we're doing. All right, yeah, just a swing. All right, blow dry tutorial via phone. Yeah, Diane, I guarantee you guys, if you do the blow dry tutorial with their phone on a little monkey tripod, they're going to walk out with retail, because it's just another way. See, what you're doing is you're creating an experience. Look, the movie theaters, in order to get us back into the movie theater, what'd they do? They create an experience. There's sofas, there's recliners. I can even buy a beer. So they said, the movie theater said, no, Netflix, you're not going to take our customers from us. We're going to get them back by creating an experience in the movie theaters. Now, I want you to take that thought and think about, what are you doing to create an experience in the salons? If we have to think about that. All right, cool. All right, let's go into our last step. That's right, our last step. Our last step basically is going in and cutting this top area now. So we go in and we cut the top area. Now, a lot of times when I cut this top area, I like to cut it dry. But I'm going to go in and I'm going to cut it wet for the sake of time. I'm going to cut that wet. So let's take a look at step 3. So a lot of you have experienced this with me. This was the one on the sides where I just swung that back. So get a picture of this, guys. I'll step back. Get a screenshot of that. This is how I cut the sides. I elevated up and I just swung it back to elevate. And then I just dropped it down so you can see me swinging it back. I tried to draw this as best I could. So when I come through, I cut my length. Here, I comb down and I swing back to square. So that was step 3. Step 2 was our tiers. Okay, now let's go to the top area. Okay, make sure you get a screenshot of this. If you didn't, at the end, I'll hold them up individually. All right, let's take a look. All right, now this is what I call triangular layering. You know, you're cutting these layers, and what it is just taking the horseshoe. I'm going to go a middle part. Forget about where the client parts her hair right now. Okay, I want you to create even graduation on these tops. I don't like cutting to a side part. I'll do that after I create a graduation even on top. Then I'll come back and I'll say, okay, which way do you part it? Then I'll cut that area to go the direction they want to part. And I'll show that to you. Okay, middle part, ear to ear, right back, right crown area, 1, 2. left front area, 3 and 4. So I'm going to create 4 triangles. Sam, what do you mean by triangles? Those don't look like triangles to me. All right, let's see. I want you to see this. All right, so let's grab another black comb. Okay, and let's show you how this works in terms of the idea of the triangle. So watch when I place the comb. Okay, so if I place the comb like this and like this, you can see there's a triangle there. See that triangle? Triangle number 2. This is a triangle. So the roundness of the head of that section is the base of the triangle. Here's triangle number 3. Here's number 3 and number 4. So think about triangles, and I'll explain to you why now. All right, so watch how I'm going to cut this top area here. Okay.
There you go.
Oh, I haven't had breakfast. Have you guys had breakfast? Everybody had breakfast? Or some of you?
Sammy, sorry, I didn't realize my mic wasn't muted.
Yeah, I'm thinking, you got something? Okay, all right. Here we go, top area. Now, in order to cut that top area, once again, I'm detaching that. So if you're going to detach that, do me a favor, isolate the underneath so you're not coming back and picking up should you need to recut. So I'm just coming through and I isolate that underneath. And now remember, guys, I've been drying this with my hands. You know, if I was going to dry this to get really smooth, I dry this with my paddle brush. Okay, the Sandvia paddle brush. But in this particular case, I want you to see how that frothiness is happening. All right, here we go. Let's go to a middle part. My dear, you're starting to get a little lopsided. Are you feeling like I am? Exhausted? You know, you guys think you're tired. I'm exhausted. But it's a good exhaustion. We've been having a lot of fun creating these lives for you. And last week, this weekend was just awesome. We had so much fun as a team doing that. All right, here we go. Let's take this now. And let's go through and let's get a center part. Let me just lower her just a little bit for you. There we go. All right, center part. Remember what I said, center part. Okay, don't worry about side parts yet. We're going to create our graduation interiorly, then we'll come back to work side parts. All right, so let's go here, front to back there. Okay, and let's go front to back here. And center part. Yes, center part. And here. So now what I just did was create my triangles. Okay, so I created my triangles. Give them a little spin so you can see them. Okay. All right, so here's my triangle right there. All right, here's another triangle up in the front. Give this a little twirl. All right, here's my triangle on the opposite side. All right, so now I'm going to turn the way to the back so that you can see this. All right, right here. Okay, so let's go here like this. Okay, square her. There she is. All right, so now I'm going to take number 1. Okay, it might look like the left back, but for me live here, it's the right crown area. I'm going to elevate this up, and I'm going to bring this over to me. Okay, so look at where I'm at. Get my shirt out of the way. Okay, I'd say my knuckle is pretty much over that center part, and I'm going to cut a square line. Okay, so let's examine this. This is where this hair lives. If I cut here, that's the shortest. This hair here is getting the longest. But what's so cool about this is because it's a triangle, only a small amount gets short. I want to tilt this so you can really see. I want to tilt your head back, my dear, just kind of like tilt it back. Atta girl. All right. Let's turn you here. There. Okay. So you see where I'm at? So that's the base of my triangle. So now here's where I'm at. Now I'm going to start to turn her a little bit so that you can just start to see. See where I'm taking this to? Her face is over here. There's her face. Okay, so now let's go back to square. Okay, here we go. So Sam, what? How short do you know to make it inside here? You better be careful, because if you hold your hand down here thinking, oh, that's long enough, you need to examine this length here, because that right now, if I cut there, that's going to be about 1.5 inches. So imagine this. So how do you determine that, Sam, in terms of how short you do it? I recommend asking the client to use a round brush to get volume on the top. You do? Okay, what kind of brush do you work with? Oh, I work with a round brush. Is it this size of brush? Show it to her. She says yes. Then take this top, place the brush there, go like this. That's how short you would take the top. Why? So she can get her favorite brush around it. I don't know about you, but there's been so many times I've cut it too short. All right. So I just gave you a little hot tip on how to determine that. I'm going to make this probably about 3 inches on top. I'm going to go for it so you can really see it. And then I cut. Now let's examine this. Watch. Okay. So now after I cut that, if I examine this and I pick up this line, put your head straight up. Okay. And I examine this, look what I just created. I just created this to go short to long. Do you see that? By bringing this up and cutting that way. Yet, when I drop this, more mass of hair is long and less mass is short. So that's what's great about cutting with these triangles, guys. So now let's elevate. Is there a guideline, Sam? Yes, there is. What you want to do is grab from that center point. There's my guideline. Place it underneath this triangle. Bring the triangle up to the same elevated point. What angle are you cutting, Sam? I'm cutting a horizontal line. So once again here, and cut a horizontal line. That's as simple as this is, guys, in terms of that. Let's go front. I can get a view of where I'm at. And here's where I'm at. And I just simply cut. So my body, let's give me in the salon, my body is square to the base of that triangle. Okay? Now I'm coming to the front. This is where you cannot panic. Okay? So I lift this up. So I'm lifting all of this hair up. I lift up my point of reference from where I started. That's that short piece. Fine teeth comb comes in underneath. Let me clean, 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 flat, comb, turn. So I only pick up the section I'm cutting. Now comb goes underneath, hand, fold, look for your guide, see the guide, stay square to the base, and cut. Now watch that hair in the front, it's going to get short. Go ahead.
Sammy, so as far as your body position, you're okay standing in front of the client for those back sections, and then you move to the back of your client for these sections?
Okay, thank you for that question. Let's talk about that. Obviously, guys in the salon, let's raise her so you can see her. Okay, she's looking in the mirror. So when I go in to cut these top back sections here, what I don't want you to do is straddle over the client to get to this. Okay, so this thing we call the head, it turns. So all I have to do, Andrew, is I just have to just tell her, look at my buttons, good, hold your head there. Now I'm in a good position where I need to be so that I can easily square myself and her lower body is out of my way. I hope that helps to make sense in terms of that. Remember, this thing we call the head, it swivels. So you get the client to tell them to hold their head there and then tell them, should you move your head while I'm cutting, I'm going to cut a hole and make a mistake. Put some fear in these people. How many times do you push their head down and they bring it back up and you push it down again? Communicate. Communication builds wealth. I hope that helps them out, Andrew. All right, here we go. Last section now. This is my last triangle. So look where I'm staying in the back. Here's the section. Now my shoulders are square to this. So always look and make sure your shoulders are square. Here's the apex, the center of everything that I've cut. I'm going to pick this up as my guide, place it underneath this triangle, and elevate up. Now remember, guys, this is not how I was taught to cut, but I've discovered this is very successful for me, and it works. As long as it works for you, I feel that's most important. At Sam Villa, we're not telling you what's right, what's wrong. We want to just inspire you to share as many as we can, ways as you can. You take what it is that we give to you and make it your own. I think that's so important. All right, can you, let's see, what else have I got? How are we doing out there? Yeah, put some fear in these people, Denisha, yes. Let's see, yep, all right, good. All right, so now, watch. You got to be fierce and take control, yeah? Yeah, be casual fierce, but definitely you understand what I'm getting. Why is the right side, he was in the back of the head, and the left side, he was on the side of the head. I think I just covered that, Karen, in terms of the why behind that. So the back, in the front, the left side here, in the back. It's because of the way you're bringing it to. Here's what I don't want to do. I don't want to stand here, comb this away from me and cut because I can't see the guide inside. So I could easily stand here, comb this away, but I find when I comb things away, I overcomb. And I could actually lay this hair here and cut it. Then when I take this triangle comb, I'm more straight up and wondering, why is this side longer and this side shorter? So body positioning really affects where you're standing. You will always comb to the center of the body, no matter where you're at. So you have to be, where's the core of your body standing? You'll always cut one side longer if you're not aware of that. All right. And let's talk about, don't forget, our tools are 40% off with a 10% of all of our sales going from yesterday and until Wednesday, tomorrow, all 10% of our sales are going to COVID-19 relief fund. We care about the hairdressers out there, and we're doing everything we can at Sanvia to raise money for COVID-19 relief fund and support those hairdressers in need. Now watch. Let's just quickly dry this, and excuse me while I turn my dryer on, but I want you to see this, guys, in terms of that top. Then I'm going to go through and I'm going to cut this top. Now watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the dryer. See that? Oh, let me get to this side. See the dryer? So instead of that nozzle staying straight, then I have to manipulate my wrist to kind of control the flow of nozzle. Look at where that nozzle is. Look at my wrist. Now what I'm going to do is get more power underneath my body. So I hold the nozzle there, but I turn that. Now look at how easy it is for me. So I'm not floating out in space trying to do it. Okay? And now I'm just going to wrap this and then slow down to speed up. I want you to slow down. Here, this is too much ergonomics, too much muscle memory. Okay? You think you're going faster, but that's 1 second of air. So watch how I just want to turn it down so you can hear me. But just watch how slow. See, that's giving me more heat. That's what that's doing, just giving me more heat and more airflow so I can dry it quicker. So slow down to speed up. It's what we like to say at Sanvia. Okay? Look at me switch my hands. If I'm necessary, I need to switch my hands. Switch them. Watch the nozzle. Watch me turn that on a diagonal. See how that's on a diagonal compared to the handle? Now watch. Look where my elbow's at. Watch what I mean. If I keep the dryer here, that nozzle, concentrator parallel, vertical to the handle, now watch what I have to do. Look at my arm. Okay? Now watch. If I turn that on a diagonal, get out here in space where you can see it. If I turn that on a diagonal, now look at how that diagonal fits